So I just watched the Plankton movie directed by Dave Needham and written by Kaz, Mr. Lawrence, and Chris Viscardi. Now I had already seen this earlier, and I'm not really going to elaborate on that. That's all I'm going to say. But I decided to rewatch it now that it's on Netflix, and I decided to go ahead and share my thoughts on it. And I have to say, I was a bit worried considering the quality of the Sandy Cheeks movie that had come out before, but when I saw this, I had a really good time, and I had a really good time this time too. It was really good both times I saw it. Obviously, all the characters are the characters from the show. There aren't really any new characters introduced here, but that's fine. I like all of them here. The voice acting is good. First of all, yep, obviously. SpongeBob. I know he's not the main character, but still figure let's talk about him first. He is a lot better here than he was in the Sandy Cheeks movie. Like, he actually was very entertaining throughout, and I thought he was very likable. I think the main reason for that is because he actually served a story purpose this time, like unlike Sandy Cheeks movie where you could probably just write him out with minimal reworking, but here he actually did serve a bit of a purpose, like working with Plankton and trying to help fix his and Karen's marriage. I will say SpongeBob did start to get a bit annoying in the third act when his relevance to the story started to be a bit lesser. Like, he didn't really need to be there in the third act, but they kind of just had him there, so he did start to get a bit annoying. But for the most part, throughout the whole film, I liked him. But Plankton and Karen are obviously the real stars of the show here. Like, not only was Plankton great, like, this is the most I've cared about him since Friend or Foe, but Karen was also really good here. This is the most I've cared about her ever. Like, I've never really been the biggest fan of Karen, especially in some of the later SpongeBob seasons, but I am happy to say that here I thought they were both very good. Like, Plankton serves well as this sort of protagonist who goes through an arc and starts off the movie as a jerk but becomes better by the end, and Karen works well as the antagonist here. Like, it is interesting what they do with her without really spoiling what happens. That and it also is nice to see how Plankton and Karen met. It's kind of a sweet love story actually. It's actually really cool to see. And that was probably the most entertaining part of the movie for me anytime they showed how they met. And I will say the humor, that's like one of my kind of complaints because it's not great. It is just kind of so so. Like, I was consistently chuckling throughout, and there were some big laughs. Humor could have been a bit better, but it's not the worst. It's not painfully unfunny or anything. It's not like there's any jokes that I outright hated. The animation here is very good. It does well showing how SpongeBob can work in 3D when a lot of effort is put into it and when a lot of care is put into how all the characters will look in 3D. I think it is executed well here. There's even a brief scene at the end where they have the characters in live action and it works rather well. There are one or two shots throughout the film where the effects look a bit iffy, like I'm not 100% convinced by them, but that's really a nitpick. For the most part, I did think the effects here were very good. In terms of the songs, they were good. I liked them. They were not amazing, but I did like them. They were spaced throughout the movie rather well. I thought that they were performed well. I thought they were written well. The only song I thought was not maybe could have been a bit better was Karen's song when she first became a villain, because I thought the auto tune they did to her voice was maybe a bit much, but for the most part, the songs here are good. And I would say they're not necessarily up there with the best SpongeBob songs, but I'd say they're up there with like solid B tier SpongeBob songs. And I would say that pretty much I did have a good time with this. My only real complaints are A, the humor could have been a bit better, and B, the third act of the film is probably the weakest part. Even though it is still good, I just think that some of the characters start to lose their relevance, and at times I'm kind of like, maybe you need to not be here, or at the very least, calm down a bit. But for the most part, I did think this was a good movie. I thought this was a worthy SpongeBob addition, like a worthy addition to the canon. I thought this was good, and I think any SpongeBob fan should go ahead and check it out. And I'm gonna give Plankton the movie a B plus. And honestly, this does give me hope for the SpongeBob movie coming out in December. I hope that turns out good as well. So those are my thoughts on Plankton the movie. Be sure to let me know what you thought about the film down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to see more reviews like this in the future. And on that note, I will see you next time. Have a great day.